In today's episode, the main reason for employee turnover, make sure to stick around. You're going to save dollars and you're going to save high performers. Welcome back to the CEO Sessions, where I help companies increase profitability through employee performance. Make sure to like and subscribe to this episode so you'll be notified when a new episode comes out every Wednesday. Now, it literally pays to reduce employee turnover. That's right. According to our research, the cost of employee turnover is over $235,975 per employee. So if you lose 3, 4, 5 employees through regrettable turnover, that's over $1 million in turnover cost in a year. That's right. It really adds up. And of course, it compounds itself because employees who leave often take other employees with them. And this can trigger even more catastrophic costs of turnover. Now, it gets confusing when we start thinking about all the different reasons why employees leave organizations. In fact, I had a client who was tracking really in great detail exit interview details, okay? And it just seemed like she couldn't find the trend. And then she was using information from different surveys that seem to come out every 3 to 4 months, where they're coming up with a combination of different factors of why employees leave. And of course, you probably heard that employees don't leave companies, they leave managers. And like 75 or 80% of the reasons that employees leave are related to their manager. Now, I would say I don't necessarily always agree with that, because there are lots of other factors. And there's one big reason today that we're going to dive into that I think is going to shed a little bit of light on that. But let's just sort of roll through the ones where there always seems to be a combination of reasons. Who knows what number one's going to be from month to month. But the problem is with these that I want to break down for you is that you don't know where to start, right? It's like a needle in a haystack to go impact employee turnover and try to get a handle on that and reduce it. Examples are lack of career advancement, not feeling paid what you're worth, job fit, and of course, negative relationships with your team and with your boss. These are some of the top ones. There are plenty of other ones. But the good news is you don't have to worry about all of that today, because I'm going to give you the main reason. I'm going to give you a framework that you can use with your employees. So the main reason is that the personal and professional cost of staying in your company is higher than the cost of leaving. That's right. When we think about the cost, personal and professional, it's not always about a paycheck, right? There's work-life balance. There's recognition. There's having a charted career path. There's the basic foundational element of safety and job security. And these are all reasons that come into play when we start talking about the personal and professional costs. And one of the best frameworks that I find often gets overlooked, and it's from old Abraham Maslow from the 1940s. That's right. He came up with Maslow's Hierarchy of Needs. Now, you may remember this from science class, where we talked about the hierarchy of needs. Now, it turns out when this comes to employee turnover, this is pretty darn important. And I'm going to break it down for you. So on the bottom, we have safety and security. These are the needs that your employees have for job security, for showing up each and every day in an environment where they can actually get their work done. The next level is all about belonging. That's right. Do they feel like they're a member of the team? They feel like a member of the company, like they're in a place where somebody's got their back. The next level is about self-esteem. So we translate that into the employee turnover world, and it's pretty easy to see this is a lot about recognition. Are people being recognized for their contribution? And on the top here, at the top of the pyramid, we have a very important one, which is called self-actualization. Now, self-actualization may seem a little bit woo-woo, and yes, it can feel that way sometimes, but when it translates into the work environment from a career and employee retention standpoint, it is about career. It's about the career path. Do they see themselves actualizing their career path and career dreams inside your team and organization? So the key of Maslow's hierarchy here is to understand that we all have foundational needs on the bottom of the pyramid. And we are motivated by moving up the pyramid once one level is complete. So if you feel safe at your job, right, then you're probably going to stick around and move into, you're going to start thinking about belonging. But you're not going to move into thinking about recognition as an employee until you have those bottom two with belonging and safety actually checked. So as the leader, this is where it gets so important that thinking about leaving for another job opportunity, just using money to try to retain them may not be effective if they're thinking about their long-term career path at the top of the pyramid. Or maybe they don't feel like they're just being included in the team because they've been working virtual for a year. Or maybe, you know what, so-and-so, maybe Jimmy or Jane, they're getting recognized for their great contributions, but they're never getting recognized. And so you've got to understand where they are on the pyramid from Mr. Maslow to know the intervention that you need to take as a leader inside the organization. So let me walk you through a few tips to apply Maslow's hierarchy so you can understand this to discover the main reason, which is all around personal and the professional costs, and understanding how we use Maslow's hierarchy to move up the pyramid and make sure you're retaining your top talent. And don't forget, where they fall on Maslow's hierarchy ultimately drives the reason for employee turnover. Strategy number one is don't forget the basic human needs of your employees. Safety and security are very important. If they're not feeling secure in their job, like they're going to have a job next week, then they'll never get to the other parts of the pyramid. So you start there. And also you got to remember too, you may have an employee who's actually in self-actualization, right? They're thinking about Maslow's hierarchy in terms of the career path forward, but maybe a global pandemic strikes and suddenly they're thinking about their safety again. And so talking to them about their career path is not going to help retain them when they're thinking, hey, my work environment's not very safe. So start with the basics. Number two is that, hey, motivation is about more than money, and motivation is a lot about what ultimately drives them to stay motivated to stay inside your organization. So using money does have a place, but using it as the lone strategy is a risky proposition, and you don't get a great ROI on that. And there may be a lot of other places that are better to put your money than just flushing it down the toilet on an employee who's leaving. We need to be talking about how they fit with the team, getting them more recognition on key projects and their career path forward. Number three is that job satisfaction can be achieved in many different ways. Once you take care of the foundational elements around safety and job security, you don't have to necessarily go to money, right? You can talk about how they're fitting with the team, how they can be a better leader in the team. You can have team functions. If your team's virtual, this level is got to be handled very, very tactfully because they may not feel connected with people that they've never met in person. And so by having even virtual activities to help bring them together and scheduling frequent one-on-ones, you'll be able to secure that level of Maslow's hierarchy. Then, of course, you can't recognize employees really enough for their great work, right? There's a book out there called Bright Spots where you really focus on highlighting the work you want to see more of, and that's a great tactic when it comes to recognition. And of course, that top part about self-actualization and about career path is so important. It all starts with a simple conversation about where they see themselves long-term and how does that fit with the vision for your team and the organization. So for your next step, what you gotta do, you can just do this right now, is think about your high performers on your team, okay? And draw a little triangle, right? You can do a back of the envelope. Here, let's do a back of the envelope. Actually, I'm gonna draw it right here on a piece of paper for you, right? You're just gonna sketch this out. Boom, there you go. Not very fancy, okay? And then you're gonna draw it out with safety, belonging, and then you're going to have esteem, and then you're going to have self-actualization on top. See the 5 little layers right here? And you're just going to note on here where each person on your team falls, or where you think they fall. And then you're going to schedule that one-on-one conversation and just open up the dialogue around that, okay? But for right now, sketch it out, schedule a meeting, get yourself on the path to reducing the main cause of employee turnover for your team. Now, if you're really on a mission to reduce the catastrophic cost of turnover for your team and organization, Make sure to stick around for the next episode because I've got more helpful strategies heading your way.